Okay, on worldly news, do we not know how the law works? Have we not been paying attention? I mean, there's all kinds of movies about it. There's, if you've ever been in trouble, then you know how investigations work. First of all, they don't release any information fresh off the scene, the crime scene. They just don't do it. So you would never hear about a car, about a manifesto being involved, about nothing, unless they were planting evidence and wanted you to hear about it so they could lead you in a way that isn't right. And that makes them the criminals. And second of all, they wouldn't sit there and tell you the two things that, the one thing that the people voted on that may have got them unalived. They wouldn't say nothing. They would just, none of that would come to the forefront. But if you wanted to create the parody about why you want people to believe that happened, you would throw that stuff out there. Like they voted down aid for, U.S. Population of poverty, and that's what that is, because all that money would have went right back to the U.S. economy. But they voted that down because that was stealing. How about all the money they stole and sent overseas? How about all the times they voted yes to send money to Israel and Ukraine and every other war we've been in, Benghazi, all of them turned a blind eye for profit, for the war machine, for oil, for all that other crap, and then, acting like this is the truth. And people are just jumping on it like, it's truth without even thinking it. That's not how law works. That's not how an investigation works. They wouldn't tell you nothing unless they want to create a parody in which they want you to believe because you're ignorant enough to believe it. You guys need to figure out how an investigation works. You can't release that information. You're going to taint the investigation right off the bat. Why would you even believe that's even true? I mean, that's like you watching, The Simpsons and thinking that's real life. This ain't The Simpsons. Those are real clouds. Those ain't fake. Those are real lives. But I don't know. It boggles my mind that you see the government being more corrupt than anybody else in history, and you still follow it like they're going to tell you the truth, like anything's going to be the truth. And they got no evidence that all they saw an unmarked car with a manifesto in it, which is bullcrap. They can't release that information right away. They wouldn't, and then they're building a backstory on the two senators. They wouldn't do that either. There would be press conferences and all this, and they'd be hush-hush, putting out bulletins about what the person looked like and which way they may have fled. But, they sat there and they tell you that they fled, but they don't know where. And it's all made up. It's all made up. But we'll leave it there. Toodles. And that's fact.